Hello, my Book Talk Peanuts. We are back for the next slot in my live interviews, and this time it is with crime author Wendy H Jones, who is relatively new to Book Talk but has taken it by storm. And I cannot wait to chat with her all about her books and her journey. So let me invite her and let's get going. Right, there you are. You are ready to roll. This should be an easy one, I hope. She can just accept and go off. Sometimes it takes me a while to find somebody. Wendy, come on, Wendy, accept my invitation. Invited.
Invite me.
There you are.
It's
Hello, my
Melissa.
love. How are you?
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How's things for you?
Yeah, things are great. Although it's a
Good.
bit. That's it. If I do that, I might hear you better because I'm. Oh, what happened there? Because I was leaning on the pings everywhere. It's there. It was leaning on the actual mic. So
not helpful. Yeah,
I can hear
absolutely.
you now that I've adjusted it.
Good. It looks. You're up in Scotland, yeah, and are you not having any sunshine today?
Well, we had sunshine yesterday, not today. It's been a miserable old day today. It's freezing.
Yeah.
And my office is cold anyway because it used to be a garage. It's now an office, but it used to be a garage. So the actual insulation isn't so good.
Isn't so great. Do you know, mine's not brilliant. We remodeled our house and my study it's got 3 external walls. And we've got underfloor heating, but it's off now. But it gets cold. So I like your crown. I have a plug-in heater that I use even in June, you know. Woohoo!
Well, I had my heater on, but it makes a frightful noise, so I took it off again. I'm trying to readjust the lighting. There we are. That looks better.
There you go. Excellent. So, Wendy, for those people who don't know who you are, give us a little insight into you and your books. Give us
and my books. How long have you got? No, I'm joking.
I've got all night.
All night, okay. No. Well, I'm author Wendy H Jones, and I have to say that H in the middle of my name is rightfully important because there's another Wendy Jones, and she does not write the types of books I write. She could be classed as a spicy author. There's nothing spicy about my books. So I also write children's picture books. So because of that, I have to have the H in the middle of my name because I get invited into schools, and it could be frightfully awkward if people. I have to be so careful. So careful when I go into schools. I say, when you're writing a letter home, do not forget the H in the middle, because if they look me up and get the other Wendy Jones, you'll be getting nasty letters from the parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm author Wendy H Jones, and I live in Scotland. I write in Scotland. Well, I say I write in Scotland. I write all over the world. I'm never to be found at home, to be honest. I just got back from Antigua 2 weeks ago. But I write crime fiction. This is the second book in my Detective Inspector Shona McKenzie mysteries, and that is a crime thriller series. Detective Inspector Shona McKenzie heads up Dundee CID, and she is. Sorry, I've got a shop, so I'm able to put stickers up and people can see it. Or if anybody's in the UK, they can click on my shop at the bottom and they'll see my books. Although Killer's Craft doesn't seem to be there. How bizarre. It should be. But anyway, this book is the second book in the series. There's 7 books in that series. This is book 1. So they're crime thrillers, the Detective Inspector Shona McKenzie mysteries, and she heads up Dundee CID. I also write cozy mysteries. And this is Antiques and Alibis, the first in the Cass Claymore Investigates series. And I also write children's picture books, which I've got to go frightfully far down in this pile because I write a lot of books. I've got the Bertie the Buffalo series, and Bertie the Buffalo is a Scottish water buffalo. Don't ask. There's no such animal. He just happened to have escaped from a buffalo farm in Fife in real life. And the BBC got involved and called him Bert. And I was asked to write the story of what he might be doing while he was running around Fife on his own in Scotland.
Oh, that's adorable. Yeah.
But I also write non-fiction for authors. So that's
I saw those.
Marketing matters, and motivation matters. And all of these are actually on a special deal because TikTok have given me a bunch of vouchers And basically, if you click on anything in my shop tonight, including Killer's Craft, which seems to have disappeared on me, I don't know why. I probably didn't press the button correctly. I didn't go far enough down. That's what the issue was. There we go. I've added them now. Yeah. If you click on any of those, if you just click on shop at the bottom, you'll get a special deal and you'll get free postage. So you'll get signed books from me, and you get money off, and you get postage.
That is quite a deal.
That's quite a deal. In my books.
Yeah, I can't see your shop, and maybe that's because I'm your co-host, but I would be clicking away if that was the case.
If you look at the bottom, there should be a little thing saying shop. Let me do a sticker and then you might find out. Look, there you go. Have I done a sticker? Did a sticker pop up?
No, not for me, but that could be that because I'm the co-host.
Yes, it might be because you're the co-host, yeah. If anybody's in the UK, can you please tell me, Jessie Fuller sent me a rose. Hello, Jessie. Jessie's joined us from America. She's lovely.
Awesome.
She writes amazing books. But anyway, I'm also the president of the Scottish Association of Writers. But that's not why I've got a crown, although I did wear it to the Scottish Association of Writers conference gala dinner, just because I could.
Yeah. It feels normal now. There are times when I just want to go out wearing my crown, or I want to write with my crown on. You know, when I first joined Book Talk, I was like, what's with the crowns? You know, and now I have 12. Now I have 12. So yeah, to me, it's totally normal now. You know, why wouldn't you have a crown, quite frankly, and a Funko Pop?
We should all go to Tesco's in them, quite frankly. We should all go to the supermarket in them.
I'm thinking about the self-publishing formula conference that's coming up, and I'm going, and I'm thinking about, I know there's quite a few authors on Book Talk going.
Is that the one in London? Is that the one in London? When is it?
It's June 26th and 27th, something like that.
Yeah, I can't go because I've got a book signing.
Oh, shucks, you know.
As you do.
But yeah, I live 25 minutes from London by train, so it's really easy for me. But I'm kind of thinking we should all be wearing our crowns, and then we can identify our fellow Book Talk authors, which would be good. Yeah.
Listen, put it in the SPF Facebook group.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All the TikTokers wear your crowns.
Yeah. And if you haven't got one, make a paper one. That's what I did for my first crown. So, indeed.
I got this off Amazon, and it cost £5. But then I discovered the reason it cost £5 was because it was actually for a child.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have a big head. I'm very fortunate in that I don't have a big head, which I was in the Army and the Navy, and they had to have my hats specially made because my head was too small. But because of that, it kind of fitted me, but it was a bit tight, so I just pulled it apart a bit.
Yeah, you just stretch like glass or something. You just stretch them a bit, don't you? Yeah. So back to your books for a second. Which of your books came first? Your picture books, or your crime books, or your marketing books for authors?
My crime books. This was the first book I wrote.
Okay.
And basically, what I decided to do was write it during NaNoWriMo. I was ill. I was ill with my lungs, but I was fine when I was sitting down. It was just when I stood up there was a problem. So I thought, I can write while I'm sitting down. That'll be marvellous. So I wrote a book during NaNoWriMo, and I had been writing before that, just to put this into context. It didn't come out of nowhere. Hello, Claire. Claire's here. Claire. Now I've got to get this right again. Rulakowski. I am quite proud of myself. I think I get that right every time. Claire's got a great name, and she's from Talenton, Oregon. Hey.
Nice. I love Oregon.
I've never been to Oregon, but anyway.
Oh, it's stunning.
Yeah, my first book, I thought, I'll sit and write it during NaNoWriMo, and I did it. And at the end of it, I thought, what do I do with this now? I thought, I might as well finish it. So I finished it. And then I sent it to a couple. They say never send it to your friends and family because they'll tell you everything's wonderful. Well, they've never met my friends and family, is all I can say. So I sent the book to my auntie, who's a fanatic reader, crime reader, and I sent it to a friend of mine who's got a first class honours in English
Cool.
from, or literacy, or some, well, not literacy, literature,
Yeah.
from Cambridge University. So that's equivalent to a master's degree. And I thought, oh, well, I'll send it to her. They're crime readers. So, and then somebody else wanted to do a favour for me, an American editor. And she said, I'll edit the first 10 chapters of your book. And I thought, oh, well, getting that for nothing's quite good. So I sent it all off to these people. And the editor came back first and she said, this is brilliant. Can you send me the rest? I'll edit it for nothing. Okay. So I did that, and they all three came back and basically said, they were much politer than this, but they both said, this is brilliant, but the ending's crap. And I thought, well, you're right, the ending is crap because I just wanted to get it finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a first draft. I haven't done anything to it. I
Yeah.
just wondered if it. So I got it professionally edited twice again.
Right.
So I'd been professionally edited 3 times by that point.
Yeah.
And so that was what came first. I then thought, what shall I do? Sent it to publishers. And they were either going no, which they know that word, publishers know that word, or they were saying, well, yeah, we're interested, but it'll be about 3 years before it comes out. And I'm such an impatient little soul.
Yeah.
I said, I was just like, can't be bothered. So I self-published. And it came out to great acclaim. Everybody was asking where the next one was. Thankfully, by the time it came out, I'd written another 2. And had them professionally edited. So they came out 6 months at a time. Brilliant. And the series has done extremely well since. There are now 7 in the series.
I can see that, yeah. And the covers are...
This is the 7th one.
Yeah, they're brilliant. I love the covers. And they're so perfect for the genre.
Yeah.
How involved do you get with your cover production?
Right.
I mean, obviously...
Yeah, my cover designer is from America. She lives in North Carolina. And she said, what do you want? And I went, well, I want the first book to be read. She only had 1 book at that point. And I said, I want it to be read. And she said, anything else? And I went, well, I can tell you it's got dead women and it's set in Dundee in Scotland. Wasn't much else I could say. She hadn't read the book. And she said, oh, well, I'll give you some concepts. And she came back with several concepts, including this one. Now, if I tell you what the concept is, this is a scene from the book at the top. Right. So that's a dead woman's hand. Right. Maybe I'm not meant to be saying that. Sorry. If nobody report me, please. And this is Dundee. This is Dundee from the Law Hill at dusk. Yeah. Nice. So we've got Dundee and we've got this. Book 2 has dead nuns, dead prostitutes, and a dead henpecked husband. I'm definitely going to get reported to TikTok. That's 4 times I've said that word now. And at the top, that's a nun from a graveyard. You know what I mean? It's one of those. Yeah. And at the bottom is the Tay Bridge. It goes from Dundee to Fife across the River Tay. And they're all like that. So this one, the bottom is Dundee, and I love this cover. This is probably my favourite of the lot of them. Right. This is Dundee. And this at the top is New Orleans and the Mardi Gras beads. And the reason for that is it's set in Dundee and New Orleans. Yeah.
So have you been to New Orleans? Have you been to all the places that you set? Yeah. Yeah.
I have. Yeah. Just before I answer that one, I want to give a shout out to my cover designer, who's Kathy Helms of Avalon Graphics. And she's outstanding. Thank you, Kathy. I know you won't be listening, but thank you anyway. Yeah. Yes, I've been to New Orleans. What happened was I went out to New Orleans to speak. I was on a panel at BoucherCon. Now, if you've not heard of BoucherCon, it's a huge crime festival for crime writers and crime readers. And there's really famous people go there, like, Kathy Reich and who else? All the big names in crime writing, and then little old me. Down at the bottom somewhere, you know what I mean? I had 1 book out at the time, Killer's Countdown. That was it. No, maybe I had 2. I might have had 2 out at the time. And I went there and I was on a panel, and I was on a panel with some delightful people who became friends. We're still friends to this day. And I thought, well, to be honest, it was for 2 reasons I did it. First of all, I wanted to see New Orleans, so I signed up for a fortnight. I went there for 2 weeks. The festival was 5 days. I thought, I'll have a bit of a holiday. But then I thought, actually, if I set a book here and do research, I can put it all against tax. I thought, that sounds like a jolly good idea to me. And when I got there, I thought, I really do want to set a book here. I mean, really, I did. So I was able to do things like go to the Voodoo Museum. And hi, I'm not saying hello to people. Hi, Maria. Hi. Oh, blimey. JTNAR. Oh, GT.
In a real life.
See in
JC
a
in a
real
real
life.
life.
Oh, you can see it. I can't see it. That's hopeless. I'm hopeless. I apologize. I can't say hello. Hello, hello, hello. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
I can say hello. I can't say your name. Yes.
Hey, Joy, nice to see you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joy.
Say hi
Yeah.
to people. I'm on a road.
Um,
So I was
just
out
tell
there
me about
and
this. Tell me about this
sorry.
voodoo museum. I mean,
Yeah,
voodoo
I
has
went to
always fascinated me. I need
well,
to hear more about this.
this is the most amazing thing. I went to a voodoo museum, right? And I thought, right, I've got to do a bit of voodoo because I'm in New Orleans. So I went to New Orleans and I went to the voodoo museum and yeah, I had to wait for a tour. So I kind of looked around a bit while I was waiting for the tour. And then the gentleman that was doing the tour around the voodoo museum, which isn't the biggest museum in the world, but it's enough. It's jam
Yeah.
packed with stuff. He said to me, he said, I'm a born again Christian. And I went, you what? I said, I'm a Christian and I would not put Christianity and voodoo museums together. Sorry. And he said, well, the thing is, people have voodoo all wrong. He said, what people think, he said, voodoo in New Orleans is very tied up with Catholicism. And a lot of the slaves that came over were actually Catholics because people had
Right.
been out there. So it's very tied up with Catholicism. And they misunderstood things like when the voodoo dolls, which everybody thinks you're putting pins in to kill people. That's what everybody thinks, yeah?
Yeah.
What
Sure.
it is, it came, the slaves, if people were owe them money, what they would do, they was make a doll in their image and they would put a pin in. And the pin was how much money they were owed. So the more pins, the more money that person was owed them.
Oh
And
wow.
he
I
actually
never knew
said,
that. I've always
yeah,
been fascinated by voodoo, and I never knew that.
yeah. So there
Um,
you go. I
yeah,
learned this.
that's really interesting.
And
Really
of course,
interesting.
the plantation owners didn't understand any of this because
No,
nobody spoke the same language.
no.
So they thought they were putting pins in to try and kill them because, of course, they thought all this was tied up with Africa was all tied up with spells and,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So do you
paganism and
think,
things like that.
all these movies that we have about voodoo and using these voodoo dolls
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
do you think that's all just demonized and because of Hollywood and the
Yeah,
misunderstandings
yeah.
and
Well, it was demonized from the get-go because it was a
yeah,
misunderstanding, really. Now, you know, the thing is, your brain will believe whatever it wants you to believe. So if I make, not that I'm ever going to, okay. By the way, I'm a Christian, so the likelihood of this doing me this to you is zero. If I
yeah,
decided to make a something in your image and put pins in it and
yeah,
stab it, your brain would automatically think she wants to kill me. Well, it
yeah,
becomes a
yeah,
self-fulfilling prophecy because if you believe that, your brain will start to do something about it.
yeah.
So, you know,
Wow. I mean, that's where the power of the mind and the psychology and mind over
yeah.
matter, is so powerful
But the
with
other
things
thing
like
is
that.
that
Mm.
during the times when the slaves were first going over there, and it was a dreadful, dreadful thing, it was horrendous. But somebody would die, and they might die of, so they might have a pin with an image with pins in it, and somebody would die, right?
Yeah, and then it's fulfilled.
That was natural causes, or they
Yeah,
got swamp fever, or they were bitten by a mosquito and got malaria, or, you
yeah.
know, or they would die in a fight. Somebody would think, they would automatically go, yeah, they're right, it's voodoo. So there you go. And this comes out in my book, even though it's a
It's
novel.
amazing. It's amazing traditions like that. At the moment, I'm reading this book called The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that my book club has chosen. And it reminds me the similarities, nothing to do with voodoo, but it's set in China. And back, I'm not even sure what era, but these traditions that these tea pickers who were very poor and they lived on the top of the mountains, and that was their life, and they never went down. And the daughter is the first one to go to secondary school, but also she's training to be a midwife. And one of the Chinese people has twins, and they are immediately killed because that is their tradition. It's bad luck. It's bad luck for
All
them.
right.
And you just think how these things, yeah, it's a heart wrenching book. You think how these things develop because of that, and then they're so hard to change because of the stigma that has so settled into psychology and movies and social media and all of those things. I would love to. I'm actually American, but I've never been to New Orleans. We traveled around the whole of the States, but we didn't get to New Orleans. So I'm desperate to get back, and I would love to go for Mardi Gras or to the Voodoo Museum. I mean, that is right up my street. I would absolutely love that. That sounds amazing. Oh, I'm so jealous.
Can I tell you something about New Orleans? Are you ready for this?
Yes.
We had parades and things. So I was actually in a parade in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It wasn't as big as Mardi Gras, but people were watching, they were chucking beads at you. And I've got a set of very special Mardi Gras beads because somebody threw them at Lee Childs and he handed them to me and said, there you go, Wendy, and he put them around my neck. So
No.
I got a set of Mardi Gras beads from Lee
Amazing.
Child. Oh, somebody's asking me what books I've written. Maybe I should answer that again because people come and
Sure.
go. Do you mind?
That's true.
I've
Go for
got
it.
4 series. I've written this series, which is a thriller series. That's the Detective Inspector Shona McKenzie mysteries. I've written this series, which is a cozy mystery series, the Cass Claymore Investigates series. I've written a children's picture book series called Bertie the Buffalo. And I've actually written 3 books for writers. There you are. Marketing Matters, awesome. Motivation Matters, and Creativity Matters. There you go. Although I have to say, I feel a bit guilty saying I've written 3 books for writers because I've written 2, published 1, and have chapters in one of them. But I also had 13 other authors that I gave publishing contracts to and paid them a little bit of money for the chapter. And so they were published through my publishing company.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah.
So they were published through my publishing company.
Oh, I didn't realise you had a publishing company. Right. We have a lot to talk about. Okay. Sorry. So that's all right. Okay. So let's talk about Book Talk first. Now I remember when you joined Book Talk, it wasn't that long ago. No. Were you off the back of the self-publishing formula TikTok group that came onto Book Talk? Were you part of that?
I was, but I was actually on there before that because I was doing a book signing in town. In the middle of COVID, I managed to get a book signing in town. Wow. And one of the days where we weren't on lockdown, you know, in between lockdowns, I managed to get a book signing. And somebody came in from the local independent news station and they filmed me and they said, oh, we're going to put this various places, including TikTok. And are you on TikTok? And we'll put your TikTok handle. I said, I'm not. Yeah. They said, we'll help you join. So then in the middle of a book signing, they helped me join. But I went home and I did one video of my desk and said, this is my writing station. And then totally ignored it. I didn't follow anybody. Nobody followed me. And nothing happened for the next 6 months. So I had 1 follower and I was following 1 person. And that was the news station. So
Brilliant.
Yes and no. Yes, I was part of the self-publishing formula 5-day thing. I can tell you now that I was very lucky that I was one of when they were building the proper course. Yeah. Oh,
you were involved
doing it as the modules were going along. I was betaing them. So I was, as the modules came out, I was betaing the modules and giving feedback.
I really wanted to be the beta for that because I've been on TikTok for over a year, so I really wanted to be.
Beta.
I know, and I did say that to them. I said I've been on TikTok for a year. I could really help, but no, they didn't pick me. So
well, I have to say that I think I was picked kind of really early on because I'm quite friendly with James and Mark. So
right.
I've seen them.
That helps.
You know, I've done stuff with them. They've interviewed me and stuff. So okay,
and you're right in a similar field. You're right, obviously in the same genre as Mark anyway. So
plus, I've already done a load of stuff with them. I've baited other courses for them.
Right.
And I've got a self-publishing formula mug. I think it means I make £1 million a day or something because I've got that mug.
And a unicorn thrown in for good measure. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh.
So how long have you been involved with the SPF community?
Quite a long time. Pretty much since the beginning. I'm very fortunate. I get access to everything. I've been doing for a while. I've been doing it for quite a while.
Do you do their advertising for authors course as well as their self-publishing course? Have you done?
Yeah, I've got it all. I've got everything.
You've got it all.
I've got access to everything they do. Yes, without exception.
Yeah. What do you find has been the most valuable for you?
Well, they're all valuable. To be honest, I don't stick to one course. So I do other courses as well because you learn things from different things. So I did the advertising one is excellent. It's outstanding. SPF 101, even though I'd been self-publishing for quite a while. By the way, just to say, I need to add that I don't just self-publish. I have a publisher for my Bertie the Buffalo books, and my young adult books were with a publisher, but they're moving to a new publisher, which is why I don't have them at the moment, because they're going to a new publisher. So I'm what's called hybrid. But the self-publishing, even though I'd been doing it, I did SPF 101 because you learn things. And in terms of TikTok, apart from just SPF, I did another course as well with Lila and Jane. Lila and Jane, who did the SPF TikTok course, they were the presenters,
Yeah.
I did their TikTok sells books course, and that was excellent. That's a 10-day intensive. So you need the 10 days free because it really is intensive. One of the days, 2 of the days I was doing this homework every night, and 2 of the days I was out all day doing book signings and was trying to do the homework at like 9 o'clock at night. I have never been so stressed in all my life as trying to do the homework at night, because they give you really intense stuff to do. It builds up, so it starts off really easy, but they really go through all the technicalities. So that was brilliant because it built on what SPF started, the SPF TikTok. So TikTok for authors. So I think there are lots of different things, and SPF is outstanding. As I say, I've got access to everything they do. I think we all do.
I've only got the advertising side of things. Pricey as well, but I felt I'd gone too far down the line of self-publishing to justify doing the course. But I can't make advertising work for me at all. My best sales come from just being on TikTok, to be honest, rather than actually doing Amazon or Facebook or anything like that. And to be honest, because I write young adult, that's where my readers are. My readers are on TikTok.
I can recommend a book.
Yeah.
I can recommend a marketing book.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
I do.
I'm joking. I'm not telling you to buy my book.
No, but I do need to spend more time.
That's terrible. You're interviewing me, and I'm going, right, would you like to buy my book?
I'm always so busy writing and editing, and then I'm, marketing is always. I mean, apart from TikTok, because I love TikTok and I love creating for TikTok, but I do have some Amazon ads just running in the background, but they're not profitable, so that's quite.
I don't actually have any Amazon ads at the moment because I switched them off while I was trying to trial TikTok, and to be honest, I'm doing well, but I'm going to switch them on again. Because I've trialed it for 6 months now, and I think I've only been on TikTok 2 minutes, but I've actually been on. No, when was the course? January or February?
Yeah, I would say probably more February. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
So it's 5 months. It's 5 months, and it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But I think I've given it a fair crack at the whip, so I'll switch my ads back on.
Yeah, see what happens.
Also because I'm going to the States for 2 months, which we can talk about in a minute if you want. But I'm going to the States for 2 months, and obviously, I mean, as I say, we can't talk about that because it's actually on a book and speaking tour. I'll explain that if you want.
Yeah.
But as I said at the beginning, I don't think you'd even joined then, and there was just a couple of people here. But I was basically saying I'm a woman on a mission. I'm an author with a laptop, and I'm never at home, So, but so advertising is important as well. So I'm going to switch on my ads again, and I'm also going to do some Facebook ads as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good. Before we get onto the States, let me just touch back on your young adult.
Tell
me about your young adult then. What's that about? Is that crime as well, or different?
They're mysteries. I describe them as Famous Five meets Scooby-Doo, or Nancy Drew meets Scooby-Doo. I discovered when I was in the States doing a book tour 2 years ago. 3 years ago? Anyway, 2019. That was 3 years ago, wasn't it? I discovered then that nobody in the States had a clue what I was talking about when I said the Famous Five. Obviously, they didn't make it across the pond. So, they're not big in the States.
It would have been more the Bobbsey twins, I think, in the States.
Well, I say Nancy Drew because everybody's heard of her.
Yeah, that's
Nancy Drew
or
the Hardy Boys.
Or Harriet the Spy. Well, Harriet the Spy, was that British or American?
No, I don't know. But anyway, it's a bit like that. Nancy Drew meets Scooby-Doo. And there's mysteries. They're the sorts of things we'd like to do, but we're not allowed to when we were teenagers. Oh, I feel like I need to go and get champagne. I feel like I've missed out here.
Always. Oh, it's my Prosecco. I always have Prosecco for my book talk.
You might have to cover for me while I go and get champagne.
I might.
I don't even have look, I've got mugs, but there's no coffee in them. Look, the mugs that go with my books. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that.
That's Killer's Curse.
Good mug.
Anyway, but there's nothing in it.
That's
Look,
a great mug.
it's empty. What was I going to say? So my young
It needs a dash of whiskey.
I do. My young adult books are basically they're the Ferguson Flora mysteries, and they're a mixture of historical and contemporary.
Okay.
So there's a contemporary mystery with a historic twist. Now they're not time travel, but they always start off. There's two in the series. There's about to be a third, and that's why they're waiting for the 3 books to be ready, and then they'll all come out together. Right. And they're getting new titles and new covers. But they're still going to be called the Ferguson Flora mysteries. They're going to be so in the first one, it's called the original title was The Dagger's Curse, but it's going to be called The Mystery of the Cursed Dagger. And basically, it starts off in ancient Egypt with a young lad who's conscripted to the army. He gets he runs away because he doesn't like being in war. He goes back to his wife, even though he's a young lad of 15. He could get married down in Egypt, and he puts a curse on a dagger. Supposedly, he puts a curse on a dagger, and there's the curse. I made the curse up, so it doesn't. It's nothing like voodoo. It's a bit like voodoo. It doesn't exist. So basically, anybody that touches this dagger would end up dead. Then Ferguson Flora become. They have to go and see this dagger because it's on loan to their archaeological mysteries. It's on loan from Egypt to the museum in Dundee. So they're taken by the school. And then they're on it's the last day of their school year, so they're on summer holidays. And the dagger gets stolen. And Fergus's dad, who's a world-renowned archaeologist, gets arrested for it because he's the only person who has any ability to get this dagger away. He has responsibility for it. So, of course, they have to save it. The only 2 people that can... There's a curse on Dundee because the dagger's been stolen. Dundee's under a curse, and the only 2 people in the whole world that can save Dundee, find the dagger, are a couple of teenagers called Ferguson Flora. The second one, the second one is a Scottish archaeological
like a cross between like The Mummy and Alex Rider, which is fantastic. I love that.
For kids, it is. But the second one is a Scottish historical one based on a lady called Christian McLagan, and she's a real person. And in Victorian Scotland, she found what was called a broch, and a broch, B-R-O-C-H, was an ancient stone dwelling. And there's loads of them in Scotland, loads, and there's loads in Stirling. So they found Scotland's lost broch in real life recently, about 5 years ago. And basically she found it in the Victorian times, and she went along to the Scottish Society of Antiquarians and said, "Oh, I've found a broch." And they went, "Get stuffed, you're a woman." So she went, "Well, you can get stuffed." And anything she found, she sent off to England, to the British Museum. So everything from her is in the British Museum. But not the broch, because the broch's sitting in the ground. You can't move that. So they're now excavating it. It's Scotland's lost broch. So I went over there and they gave me a tour and they gave me a book about Christian McLagan. And they're on the dig. Ferguson Flora are on the dig with her dad, with his dad, and all sorts of things go on. Then the third one, to cut a long story short, because you'll be bored with this by now, is basically going to be the mystery of the terracotta warrior. So the terracotta warriors are on loan to a museum in Dundee.
Oh, are they? I've been to Wushu, China, and I've seen the terracotta warriors. It was incredible.
I lived in Hong Kong for 2 years, so I've been up there.
Wow. Incredible. We went for our honeymoon and we traveled all around China.
Wow.
And hit all the spots, and that was just one of the most incredible things. Just breathtaking that. Incredible. Okay, so tell me a little bit about...
JC Fuller says Nancy and Hardy Boys were popular over here.
Hardy Boys.
She's
that's what
she's in Seattle. Hello in Seattle, JC. Nice to see you.
She's the Hardy Boys would have been an American
see me when I'm out there.
That's good. So why crime and why mystery? What drew you to that genre?
Well, I come from a family of readers, and when I was 3, my mother signed me up to the library. You weren't even allowed to join a library till you were 5 when I was 3, but my mother somehow or other managed to get around it and got me a library ticket because I was a really early reader, so I could read myself. So by the time I was 5, I was reading Famous Five, Secret Seven. You know, I'd gone way past the cat sat on the mat, which is what we were doing at school, you know. So I was always an advanced reader. But everybody in my family read mysteries. That was what they read. And I could read anything that was around. Obviously, I wasn't reading adult crime books at the age of 5, but I went through Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys, the Secret Seven, all the other Famous Five, all the other mystery books. I also read things like, you know, Holly, what was it? Holly Ames, Student Nurse or something, or somebody Ames, Student Nurse, and all those. There were nursing books. I became a nurse, by the way, as well. I was Cherry Ames and Holly somebody or other. There were 2 different series, but they were nurses. I went through all the Bobbsey twins, as you say, you know, Millie, Molly, Mandy. By the time I was 10, I basically read all the books in the children's library. So my mother stomped down there again and got me an adult library ticket. You didn't get one till you were 18. Somehow or other, I got one. And I moved on to Agatha Christie and things like that. But I could read anything that was at home, anything whatsoever. So and everybody read mystery. So I could read my auntie's books, my granny's books. My granny didn't read mystery. She liked, what was her name? Catherine Cookson. So I read them as well. I just basically read anything I could get my hands on. So it was mainly mystery I read. And I'm an eclectic reader. I read widely. But mystery is what I mainly read and know. So it's a no-brainer, really.
But you're drawn to.
Can I tell you another reason why I write crime? Okay. This is true. In Scotland, our biggest export is whiskey, right? Our second biggest export is crime writing. So the rest of the world basically thinks we're a bunch of drunken murderers. And in Scotland, we love an unalive body. There you go. Not in real life, in a book. Okay. We love them. If you can't sell a crime book in Scotland, then give up. Because honest to goodness, crime.
It's all those dark nights and stormy weather and whiskey and fires and, you know, what else are you going to do but murder people? Clearly.
Precisely. And I went into Waterstones before my first book came out, and to be honest, I only went into Waterstones for a cup of tea or to buy a book. Really. And I said, "Could I have a book signing?" And they went, "We'll put you in. We'll ask the manager. He's here. He'll come and speak to you." So the lovely Kevin, who didn't know me from Adam at that point, went. I said, "Can I have a book signing, please?" And he went, "Who are you?" So I explained I was a local author and that I'd written a crime book. And he went, "Where is it set?" I went, "Dundee." He said, "Oh, that'll sell." He said, "Give us a copy. We'll have a look in it." I said, "Well, I can't give you a copy because it's not out yet." I said, "But I can show you a picture of the cover on my mobile phone." And he went, "Okay." So I showed, this is how not to market 101, okay?
Well, this is how to market.
I went, "So here's the picture of my," so I showed him the picture of the cover on the mobile phone. I went, "My goodness, that cover's amazing. Look, I'll show you a picture of the cover now for anybody that's new. There's a picture of the cover." And he said, "Oh, okay. Great cover, set in Dundee, that'll sell. Can you guarantee you'll get a lot of people here?" I went, "Absolutely. I can guarantee it'll be worth your while." So we set it up. They were going to stay open late one evening, and I was going to have a book launch, and I started inviting people. And I've got a marketing background. I've had marketing training. So I invited like 200 people thinking 10 will come, you know what I mean? Because everybody cries off on the night. So every time I went in, I was going, you know, we've got, he said, "Have you got enough people?" I was, "Oh, yeah. How many are going to be?" "Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine." In the end, he said, "How many people are going to be here?" And I went, "About 100. And he went, "That's too many." And I went, "Stop panicking." So it's quite a big Waterstones, and they move things around. And we had people upstairs on the veranda as well, because it was amazing. There was about 158 people there, and they sold loads of books. The next morning, he came along and he said, I saw me in the street, and he said, "Thank God we've seen you. We haven't got your email address." And I went, "Oh."
Wow.
He said, "We need more books." And I went, "But I only left you at like 8 o'clock last night with 50 books. Where on earth have they gone?" He said, "People were queuing up to get them when we opened the doors."
Wow.
And he said, "And the library sent us an email saying, can we have 25 copies?" And it literally hadn't been out for months. That was literally the day after it opened, the day after the book launched. That was the first day it was available. And the
Wow.
thing was, I was in town because I was going to the library with a copy of the book to say, would you like a free copy? They'd ordered
Absolutely.
25. He said, have you got any more? I said, well, I do, because I'm going to a different bookshop and they want them. So I've got their books in the car.
Yeah. So was the bookshop not able to order them directly? Were you having them printed yourself at that
They
point?
were local. They were local purchase.
Right.
They were on the local author system,
Right.
but they
Right.
then moved on to the wider system because every
Yeah.
Waterstones in Scotland ended up with them,
As them. Oh.
because they loved them,
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just really fortunate, really fortunate. But
Yeah.
I had marketed like a ninja
Yeah.
beforehand, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I invited over 200 people to come to my
Yeah.
book launch,
Yeah.
knowing that people would. And literally, if people were in spitting distance of Dundee, I had people coming from Aberdeen,
Yeah.
Edinburgh, the
Yeah.
Western Isles,
Yeah.
all over Scotland
That's
to the book launch.
incredible. What an amazing story. I love that.
And I
Yeah.
can't even remember why I started telling you that.
Yeah.
Because you didn't ask me that question. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll answer the questions in
Conversation
future.
just evolves, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. So
Hi, everyone.
tell
If you're
me,
joining. Hello. Nice to see you.
tell me a little bit about your writing process. How do you, are you a plotter, a pantser? How do you go about your drafting a book?
Well, I think I'm what's called a plantster, which means that I'm like a plant, but really I half plot, half evolve, half
Yeah.
pantster. My first book was complete pantster. Unfortunately, it really worked out. But I discovered that, and I discovered this before it went to anybody. I really did check through it once before I sent off to people, that I hadn't investigated one entire dead body. They all went and peered at it, and then it never appeared again in the book. And I thought, right, we maybe need to. This poor woman's died, and I maybe need to do something about it. So that I plan out, because my books, they're slightly unusual in that they're a dual storyline. That's why they all start with killers. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. So, and they start with the word killers, and I'm going to tell you another little story, and I'll go back to plotters and pantsers. The second word all begins with a C. Now that was accidental, because the first two accidentally began with a C. And then I was doing a book launch at Montrose Library, and one of the questions when I'd finished was, what was it? One of the questions when I'd finished was, so what is the third book going to be? So I told them the title, and they went, no, it can't be that. And I went, why? They went, because the second word doesn't begin with a C. And I went, what are you talking about? And they went, no. And I went, oh my goodness, I seem to have branded myself. So,
oh, wow.
Because it all starts with the word killers, basically, the reason for that is that you get the police. So you get DI Shona McKenzie and her team investigating. But alongside it, you get the killer's story. You don't know who they are, but you get to know what they're doing and why they're doing it.
So I love that. I love seeing things from the killer's perspective.
So
I really do.
I do plot out which chapters are going to be the police and which chapters are going to be the killer. And then I need to put down who's died. So I need to plot that out so that I don't leave anybody swinging in the wind and I don't investigate them.
Yeah, I just think I so respect people that write crime and mystery, because I think it's hard. I think trying to, have enough suspects and point the finger at enough people, but for the answer not to be a shock, but also too obvious, is really hard, because you know it all in your head, and you never know if you're, doing it, if you're giving too much away or not enough away, or I think it's, hats off to
I love it. I really love it. It's
good. That's fantastic. So you're a plantser. What about your editing process? Do you use professional editors, or what's your process?
I self-edit first. I do about 3 self-edits, and then I send it to a professional editor. Or professional editors, and they have a look through it. But I also send it to a friend who has a look through it to make sure that everything's, fitting in properly and stuff like that before I do that. But I do have it professionally edited. Yes, I can't edit my own work for toffee. I mean, you think you can, but to be honest, things will always sneak through. This one was edited. Oops, where are we? was edited 4 times, right?
Yeah.
Plus I self-edited it, yeah?
Yeah.
I was doing a reading the other day. Bear in mind, it's been out for 3 years. I was doing a reading 2 years and noticed a word that was spelled, it wasn't spelled
It
wrong, but I
always
hadn't
happens.
completed it.
It always
I hadn't
happens. Yeah.
completed it. Nobody's noticed. Nobody,
No.
because your brain sees what it wants to see.
Or no one said anything. No, it's true. I mean, I've just discovered with the first book of My Mermaid, the version that I have from my own shop has some formatting issues. And, you know, I had approved the E version and it was all fine.
Yeah.
But obviously, and then I don't read the book again because I just don't.
No.
So someone brought it to my attention. I was like, so that's my project for next week, is to correct those things.
But there's nothing you can do about it. Getting worked up, getting upset. I think there was a meme going around Facebook or Twitter or somewhere that says typos. Was it something about typos are the mythical beings that don't appear until your book has been out for 3 months? And you know, and it's true. They just somehow or other, no matter how many people have edited it, one word won't get picked up.
No, and I've seen this with big traditionally published books as well. So, you know, and they traditional publishers have a percentage acceptance rate of typos as well. So they, you know, as long as it's under a certain amount, then, you know, they're fine.
But the thing is that nobody will ever put a review for a traditionally published book. There was typos everywhere. You could have one typo in a self-published book, and you can tell this is self-published. It was riddled with typos.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I've never heard anybody say that on mine.
I was tempted. There's a very popular book that is traditionally published that does have a lot of typos. I was tempted, but I didn't, because I don't ever say anything that I wouldn't want to hear, or in the way that I would want to hear it. I mean, saying that, I would always want somebody to message me and say, I found a typo in your book.
Oh, yeah.
I've got absolutely no issue with that. And people have in the past approached me very tentatively, and I'm really sorry, but blah, blah, blah. And I know that some authors are not receptive to that. But for me personally, I'm delighted when somebody brings that to my attention, because if it's still there, then I don't know about it, you know. So,
but it makes, you know what, can I tell you what my favourite review is that somebody gave me? Okay, it was a 3-star review. And this, to be honest, if this ruined the book for them, then that's fine. I've no problem. But this is what it said. If Wendy, not exact words, because I don't know the exact wording, but it was my very first book. It was Killer's Countdown, right? And in it, when I was writing it, it rained non-stop for 10 weeks in Dundee. And I mean non-stop. I have a stream at the end of my garden, and I thought it was going to flood. It didn't, but it was a raging torrent, okay? Absolutely hammered it down for 10 weeks. There were people being flooded in Dundee. So in the book, I say, D.I. Shona McKenzie, who's just recently returned to Dundee, wonders why it's always raining in Dundee. Okay? That was it. The reviewer said, if Wendy H Jones thinks it's always raining in Dundee, she doesn't know anything. I'm from Glasgow and it rains more in Glasgow.
Those are the most annoying reviews, because you just like,
it's in chapter 1. No, chapter 2. No, it's in chapter 1. That is in chapter 1 on about page 5. But if that ruined the book for them, it ruined the book for them. Because let's face it, the review's not for me. It's for them. That's all a review does, is gets people's enjoyment or frustration or whatever out about the book. That's all it's
and
for.
Sometimes those are the reviews that you should highlight. Like I think he's from Vietnam. There's a graphic artist on TikTok who likes to highlight his bad reviews, and it works really well for him. And he's like, well, if you want to know why, read the book, you know.
Well, I have to say, I was at a Crime Writers Association Christmas lunch, Scotland branch Christmas lunch in Edinburgh. And I won't say the names of the authors, but there was, because it's not fair on them, but there was some really high profile Scottish authors there, right? And one of them said his favourite review was, what was it? What was it? I've never read this book. In fact, I don't think I even ordered it, but I didn't like it anyway. And I went and looked it up, and that review was there.
What do you do with that?
Like it anyway. He said, I use it everywhere I can. He said, everywhere I tell people that. I mean, seriously, what is that all about? Or the ones that say, I've never had this, but somebody had one of my friends had one that said, The packaging was torn when it arrived. 1
Yeah,
star.
yeah, you get loads of those. Yeah, yeah.
What?
1 star, and you're like, oh.
And Amazon won't remove them. You're
No,
like, oh my giddy
no,
aunt. To be
it's
honest, I don't even
awful.
bother
Yeah,
looking at reviews anymore.
no.
It's pointless because you just get worked up.
Well, every once in a
I
while,
often look at my star rating, and if my star rating says it's
yeah,
over 4, I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
fine, just run with
That's
it,
probably
Wendy.
the safer thing to do. I was on Goodreads earlier today, and me and my author friends, we call it the bad place because Goodreads can be quite cussing. But I did come across a review for my latest book. My books, even though they're fantasy, horror, science fiction, they all have mental health in them. And this particular book, The Unraveling of Being a Forester, is tricky. It does have a lot of sensitivity, mental health issues, and there are things that some readers will find problematic. So there was a review that basically said, although she thought the writing was great, blah 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 blah, that she thought some of the subject matter was problematic. And it always makes me a little bit sad because I do my best to be as sensitive and representative as I possibly can because it's a passion of mine. But obviously not everyone is going to feel that. So, it's best just not look at those or just go for the 5 stars,
To be honest, I do have ethnic minorities in my books. Now, the D.I. Shona McKenzie books, 2 of her sergeants, one's Indian and one's Chinese background. They're both Scottish. They were both born here, but they're based on people I know. So one of them's based on my friend's daughter, the Indian character, and she's basically Indian Scottish, Scottish Indian. And when I say Indian, I don't mean American native. I mean India from India.
I have a friend who's like that too. Yeah,
I've known her since she was 2. Yeah, and I've seen her grow up, and she's her. Now, if anybody said to me that's not realistic, I would just say, go speak to, and she'll tell you. I've got a girl with Down syndrome, and not Fergus. Flora's sister has Down syndrome in my Fergus and Flora mysteries. Now, Fergus's, Bella, what the girl name is, again, is based on people I know and my friends' kids. So if anybody says anything, I would refer them to that. I'm doing a new series, which is going to be for 7 to 8-year-olds, 7 to 9-year-olds, because I've got a gap in the market from cradle to grave. I can cover you every other which way. And there's going to be, the main character is going to be mixed race. Now, he is literally my friend's son. And I asked her, and she said, yeah, that's brilliant. We need that. Because there are mixed race children, and they never see themselves in books, ever. Yeah? So mine are based on real people. So if anybody says they're not realistic, I'll just point them to the people involved and say, please discuss it with them.
Yeah. It's just whether it's mental health or whether it's race or whether it's sexuality, I mean, it's so sensitive at the moment, and in some ways I think we've swung too far the other way, but it's just hard. It's just hard to and the fact that you've got to justify the fact that I say, well, I write mental health because I've got mental health issues. I shouldn't have to say that. It should just be because I'm writing about it because I've done a good job of writing about it. So it's a whole minefield out there really with that stuff. So
but as far as I'm concerned, the people that have read it have said, I can see myself in your books, Wendy. Mine are representative of Dundee as a whole, so I do have one black character in it. She's a really nice reporter, but we don't have a huge black community in Dundee. We've got more Indian and we're getting more black people now, but
same where I live,
mainly
actually.
Indian and Chinese because of the jute industry. We had real ties with India because we were massive with jute during Victorian times. So we've always been quite close relationship with India. Because of the docks and things. So it's representative of Dundee.
Basically. And I think that's true. In a lot of areas, when you think about race, I mean, where we live as well, it's a lot more Indian than it would be black, for instance. But if you go to the States, obviously there's more black and Mexican than there are Indian. So it depends on your country, and it just depends on what's around you. And where I live is a very white world, actually. I mean, I do have lots of ethnic friends, but it is very. I live in Surrey, so it's very white.
There, yes.
Yeah.
There, yes. You live in Surrey. I should be talking with my officer's accent, really, shouldn't I?
Oh, there we go.
I was an army officer, darling. I'm a Major Wendy H Jones.
Nice. Love it. So how
I
did you
really am
go?
a major.
Okay, so give me a quick synopsis into your career then. So you were also a nurse. Were you a nurse in the army?
Right. I
Okay.
started in the Royal Navy as a
Right.
nurse, a student nurse. And after 6 years, I left. I did a course in Civvy Street, thought, I don't like this much, I'm not getting enough money, and promptly joined up in the army as an officer, where I got a lot more money. They then sent me, I'd done a course as ophthalmic in St John's Ophthalmic Hospital in London. Then I joined the army as an officer, and they sent me to Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital to do my children's nurse training. So I've now had 3 courses under my belt.
That's
I
great.
then wandered around the world as an officer for the next 17 years. And they paid for me to do a nursing degree, and then a master's in nursing and a master's in education. And I
Wow.
ended up as the head of pre-registration nurse education for the Army, Navy and Air Force. So I
Right.
was literally in charge of the training that I'd started out on when I started as a student nurse. So I started out as a student nurse in the Navy and finished up running the training. So that was quite nice. It's gone full circle.
A
In the
nice
meantime,
circle. Yeah.
I went all around the world. I was very, very fortunate. I got to go to Hong Kong, Gibraltar, Cyprus, Israel for a year. I then went back to Israel for another month. I went to Holland. I went to where else? Germany for 2 years. I got to go everywhere. I was very fortunate. Never went to war once. Never. The only medal I've got is the Queen's Jubilee medal. Apparently, I'm getting another one for the Platinum Jubilee. I've got a Golden Jubilee medal and I'm getting a Platinum Jubilee medal, apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly. And I then left, and as I say, I was in academia. I was writing academic textbooks, and I was... somebody's asked me whereabouts in Germany did I go. Iserlohn. Emma G, hi, it's nice to see you. And Daniel's here.
Yes,
hi,
I saw Daniel.
Wendy. And we're getting lots of likes and roses and all sorts from JC Fuller, who's lovely. You're all lovely.
Okay, well, you are on your side. I'm getting nothing.
Please, if you give us likes, guys, click. If you tap on the screen, apparently we get millions of likes. Are you getting any likes from me? If you tap on the screen, we get likes, and then it's shown to more people in TikTok because it looks like we're popular, even if we're not. It looks like we're popular.
Yes.
Oh, I've got roses. I've got loads of roses. Thank you, JC.
Nice.
So I did all that, and then when I left, I ended up running nursing courses, and then I managed to blag my way into being the head of education studies. At Bournemouth and Poole College, running all their courses up to master's degree in education.
Wow.
And then was a deputy director of one of the faculties at Portsmouth University. That was when I got ill with my career. I mean, I had a high-flying career, but then I got ill. And to be honest, it made me rethink my life because I'm all right now.
Yeah.
But I was registered disabled because of my lungs, but they've recovered. But basically, the money I was getting just wasn't worth the amount of hours I had to work. I was working 80, 90-hour weeks, and I thought, this is not on. And no wonder my lungs gave up the ghost. I think they did it deliberately to say, have a break, Wendy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's always a sign.
Family live in Senelager. Wow, I know Senelager, the army base. Yeah, I know it. I've been there. How cool. Yeah,
that is cool.
So that was my career, really. And then I became an author. Yeah. I did a stint as a slimming world consultant as well.
All right.
There you go. So if you want any health advice, I'm your woman. I can help you slim.
Yeah, I could do some of that. Right. We're coming up to the hour, so I want to ask you a few fun questions.
Yeah, please do.
Yes. So as a writer, what is your mascot or spirit animal?
I don't think I've got a spirit animal. I have to say that I'm a Taurian, okay, is the first thing. Yeah. And I'm the Chinese year of the ox. So I'm the most stubborn person on the planet.
What about your star sign? What star sign are you?
Taurus, the bull.
Oh, Taurus. Oh, yeah. So so is my son. And I would agree with that. He's
So I'm
tricky.
Taurian and the Chinese year of the ox.
Right. Double whammy. Yeah. Double. Yeah. Well, I'm a goat and a snake. I don't know what that means.
A goat and a snake.
Yeah, well, I'm a Capricorn, which is a goat, and then I'm
snow...
Chinese year of the snake. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm Chinese year of the ox.
Yeah. There you go.
It was great when I was in Hong Kong because you could buy T-shirts with it on, and
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's really nice.
I haven't got any of them anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know, I bought 5 T-shirts in a market in Thailand that said things like Gucci and everything on them, and I got 5 for £1, and I'm still wearing them.
Oh yeah. My husband's parents used to live in the Philippines. Actually, they lived all over the world.
Yeah.
And we used to go and buy all the knockoffs. And I had a Gucci handbag, and people would be like, "Oh, where did you get that?" And I'd be like, "It's so hard to say it's not actually real." I'd have to be like, "Thank you."
I know. To be honest, I usually tell people, you'd be going down the street, so you know what it's like. You'd be going down the street and they go, "Copy watch, Missy, copy watch, Missy."
Yeah, exactly.
Rolex, just for you, Missy. I'm like, yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this on TikTok, but like blowjobs for $5, man.
Oh, no, we didn't have any of that in Hong Kong. Oh, no.
All over Manila, all over the Philippines, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was quite crazy.
Or maybe I just didn't go to the right places for that. They were only trying to flog me copy watches. Perfume for $3 Hong Kong, which is about 20 pence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. This is
cigarettes
really
as well. Back in the day when I used to smoke, I mean, you'd get a whole carton for $3. It was insane.
I didn't smoke, so I couldn't tell you that one.
Yeah, happy days. Yeah, I did. Okay, so if you could only drink one drink and eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? It does not have to be healthy.
Champagne and one meal. Ooh, that's a tough one because I love everything. It would have to be curry of some description. I'm a curry girl.
It is the national dish of Britain.
It probably is, yeah.
It is, yeah, most popular. Yeah. It's quite funny. I like that. I prefer Prosecco to champagne. So Prosecco definitely for me. I like my bubbles.
Well, I was an army officer, so we got champagne thrust at us at every available moment. Every day they'd be like, "Oh, would you like champagne? Oh, I've been promoted. I'll have champagne. I haven't been promoted. Let's have champagne to commiserate. Oh, I've had, there's a ball. Yay, crack open the champagne."
I would have thought it would have been like beer or ale or something. I don't know. Yeah, that surprises me.
Do you know what? Funny. You haven't lived until you've been to an army ball and you've sat on a carousel at 2:00 in the morning, a carousel in the car park at 2:00 in the morning with a glass of champagne in your hand. Yeah.
Nice. I could get on board with that. Totally. I live very near Sandhurst, and I actually went to Wellington College, which is the school.
Oh, right, I know where you are.
Yeah, so it's right next to Sandhurst, and it's for traditionally the sons of military officers. And a lot of my friends have gone off to be part of the army and things like that. So and a friend of mine was actually married at Sandhurst, so that was really fun to go and be part of that. Absolutely, yeah. So I'll have a little bit of insight into your world, but not a lot. There we go. Okay, what is your favourite colour?
Yellow.
I like yellow. It's a nice, cheerful, happy colour.
Precisely, that's what I think. It used to be red when I was younger, but now it's yellow.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe now that you write blood and murder, you need a more cheerful colour.
I do. If I just dressed in red head to toe, people would get worried.
There you go. Have you got any pets?
I don't. I'm never here. Look, I've got Bertie. My Bertie, the buffalo soft toy. Does he count?
He's brilliant. Yeah,
he's very cute. With me at my desk. He's not there because I'm trying to flog him. Although I should be. I'm doing very well tonight. I'm meant to be telling people I've got books and things available. Look, there's all sorts of deals if you go to my shop at the bottom if you're in the UK.
Yeah. So before we go on, tell me a little bit about your shop. I keep getting invited to do a shop, but I've not really taken the time to investigate what it's all about.
Well, to be honest,
is it worthwhile?
Well, yes and no. I'll tell you why. I was the first person that started out. that was because, oh, hello, Junkie Fluffy. You don't have pets either. Oh, she needs sea monkeys. Good idea.
Oh,
Yeah, I
love
think I was the first person in the UK to have a shop for books. Yeah, because
right.
it kept saying, I don't read things properly. And I was in a hurry
Right.
and I just signed
Okay.
up. But apparently nobody else did because it said you can't sell books. Well, it
Oh.
turned out the reason you couldn't sell books was because they don't want you selling anybody else's books.
Oh,
So
right.
I had to prove that I was the author. Sorry, I'm
Right.
rubbing this. I'm covered in bites. Look.
Oh, gosh, you
So they're
are.
very
Yeah.
itchy. Yeah. So I had to prove I was the author, and they said, "Well, you need to send us your registration, copyright registration." So I had to break the news to them. You don't do that in Britain, but I managed to convince them that it was fine, and so they gave me a shop. Now I do sell things through the shop, and I do put things up on the screen, to say that they're available, and they are special deals. Look, for that, you'll get money off and you get a special deal if you buy them both together. And that's the first
Yeah.
2 books in my crime series. And you get free
So does the
postage.
shop,
TikTok is doing it.
does the shop only work when you're live, or is it there all the
No,
time?
no, no. It's there all the time, but you have
Okay.
to put a product up. You have to pin a product to it with a
Okay.
video. And that product has
Okay.
to be in the video. But the problem is, I feel like I'm selling things all the time. But
Yeah.
you really are getting deals at the moment. But I don't like saying things like this because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm trying to push my books all the time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like people. No, I'm happy for people to buy my books, but
Yeah.
TikTok really want you to push it. And
Right.
to be honest, I feel like a bit like, buy my books, buy my books, buy my
Yeah.
books, which is not
Yeah.
me. Whereas all the other people that are running TikTok shops are literally flogging products, and they're flogging hundreds of them.
Yeah. Different
Yeah.
things.
So
Yeah.
they're doing hundreds of different things, like they're doing Pokemon cards, or they're
Yeah.
doing.
A bit
It's a lot
different.
harder
Yeah.
with books.
Yeah.
So guys,
Yeah.
please, if you'd like to buy my books, buy my books.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But click on the link at the bottom that says shop. You will
Yeah.
get really good deals that are being subsidized by TikTok. But I don't want to keep saying it. But they're
Yeah.
literally going live just to sell things.
So I
Yeah.
assume they take a cut of your.
They take 5%, which isn't
Okay.
bad.
But that's not too
It's
bad.
not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clearing that up for me.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. Now I don't have to read all the paperwork. I can just, understand.
You can do it. And now that
Yeah.
I've paved the way, apparently it's easy for people to get through.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not being stopped at
Tricky.
all.
Okay.
But you need more than 6 products to sell.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I've
people
got
are going, I don't
6.
have 6 books. Well,
Yeah.
you don't
I've got
actually have to have
6. Yeah.
6 books. You need to have 6
Right.
products. So if you've
Right.
got 3 books, you can do, these are the 3 books on their own. You can
Yeah.
have the first 2 together, or you can
Yeah.
have the second 2
Yes.
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you can have all 3
Clever.
together, and that's 6 products.
Clever.
Or you can
Yes.
do mugs. Look, you can just do mugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got
So how do
4
you
different mugs. Look at that.
do people buy from you and you ship them yourself?
They buy them through TikTok and I ship them.
Yeah.
You cannot
Yeah.
do it to anywhere else. You can't link
Yeah.
it to Amazon or anything now.
Okay. Okay.
But I've got
Okay.
loads of stuff in my house anyway, because people
Yeah.
buy direct from me. A lot of books
Yeah.
direct
Yeah, I know.
from
I
me.
have I've got a shop on SumUp, an online shop.
Yeah.
So people buy direct through that way for me,
Right. Yeah.
But I haven't really investigated the whole TikTok shop. Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple more quick questions. Are you a Marvel or a DC fan?
It would have to be DC, because DC Thompson's is Dundee. The Dundee base. So it has to be DC.
I love it.
Because most of my relatives worked for them at some point or another. In fact, my cousin, was an artist for DC Thompson's. He did the Dandy, the Beano, Willie, the Bruins, all sorts. Yeah.
Right.
And
okay.
my Bertie the Buffalo illustrator was DC Thompson.
I'll let you off then. Yeah, I'll let you off. That's good. All right. Do you have, ever since I interviewed Derek Bourne, I don't know if you know Derek Bourne, who's written Dino Rift. He's on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
But, I've got 3 boys and they all went through their dinosaur phase. And
yeah.
I have decided to add a question onto my quickfire round of what is your favourite dinosaur? My favourite dinosaur? Heavens. I think everyone's got Tyrannosaurus Rex. T-Rex. Yeah. A nice classic. I like it.
Yeah. Or even a pterodactyl might be nice. I know pterodactyls are a bird, but hey, you know.
That's true. That's good. I like it. I like it. Okay. What 3 books would you take to a desert island?
Well, we won't say the Bible because the Bible doesn't count ever on desert islands. I would take a Bible, but we're allowed 3 others. The other ones would be the entire Lord of the Rings, only because it's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you used to be able to get it in 1 book, so
I know,
you know.
You still can. Yeah, you still can. I would take the complete Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, nice.
Again,
nice.
a number of books.
Yeah.
And what would the other one be? It would have to be another huge one. I don't know, probably an omnibus, an Agatha Christie omnibus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's lots of books in that, isn't there? Yeah. When I see people talk about the Wheel of Time series, which is a fantasy series, so people liken it to Game of Thrones, and I didn't realize there's been 1 season on Netflix, and I didn't realize that it were books, but there's like 20 books in the thing. They're huge. It's huge. Yeah.
Get 20
and when you
massive
put them all
books in one
together,
omnibus.
Yeah, when you put them all together, there's a dragon that goes across all the spines of the books.
If nothing else, you could use them as a boat. You know, you could use these books as a boat because they'd be massive. So we could just put them together with a bit of rope and get out of the desert island to go to a nearest library. Listen, if I ever get washed up on a desert island, it's going to be one that's already got a library. Okay? Yeah. And I would just not worry about books. Or I'm going to get washed up with my Kindle Paperwhite because there's...
Yeah. Do you know, you reminded me of a game that I play with the kids, and I always say, you're going to be shipwrecked on a desert island. You're allowed 3 things.
Yeah.
And what would they be? And, you know, it'll be a knife or a bit of rope or, you know, like that. But I think when we play this again, I'm just going to say a fully stocked library. It's going to be one of my things.
Yeah.
I love it. And
when you've read the books, you could just tear them up and use them as bonfire fodder, you know.
Oh, could you? Could you though? I don't know.
I couldn't.
Yeah. Tricky. Do you have a favourite Christmas movie?
Yeah, Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh,
I love it.
Lovely.
See when she goes, do you believe in Father Christmas? Do you believe in Santa Claus? Yes, I believe.
Yeah, I love that. I do love that. All right, and your last and final question, and you can go on about your evening, is, and I think I know the answer to this, but do you have any talents that would help you survive the Hunger Games?
Any talents that help me survive the Hunger Games, rather than making people laugh to death? Unless people would laugh to death, I'm not entirely sure I do.
Well, I would probably
be. I can keep out.
You were a nurse. If you injured yourself, you would know how to take care of yourself.
No trouble. I could treat myself, no trouble. I could cure people so they'd need me around. You know, I can convince people that I'm more important. You know these games where it's you're on a boat and you've got to throw people. The military loved these, okay, and so did nursing. You're on a boat and 3 people have to go overboard. Convince them why it shouldn't be you. I've never been thrown overboard yet. I just talk them out of it.
Wow. You actually have these kinds of exercises that you do?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. I want to go to the Wendy H Jones intelligence training for survival. I think you will be on my Hunger Games team. I'm a dead weight. And yeah, I'm building quite a nice team now. I like this. Oh, how brilliant.
I'm very good at debating. I can convince anybody to do anything. Before we go, do you mind for the American people if I tell you about my American tour very quickly?
Go. Yeah? Absolutely.
I'm going to America for 2 months, starting on the 1st of August, and I'm flying home on the 4th of October. So I'm there for 66 days, apparently, according to my insurance company. And which means it cost me a fortune, because anything over 45 days is classed as a long trip. So I've had to pay for a year, as though I was going for a year. But
can you not just like go into Canada and come back again, or go into?
No, because the insurance doesn't work like that.
Right.
You have to go back to your country where you're getting the insurance from.
Right.
So otherwise, I would have done. but where was I going with that? Yes, so I'm going to be on the East Coast. I'm going to be in North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, New York State, and Washington, D.C. I'm going to be in all those places. I'm speaking at conferences. I'm going to be I've been in discussion tonight of tying up some of the final things. So 3 things are still being sorted out properly. I'm going to be putting out a poster. I'll be putting it on social media, and I'm going to be spending time signing books, speaking at conferences. I'm speaking at one particular conference on the keynote called the Hampton Road Writers Conference in in Virginia, and that's in Virginia Beach. It's at the end of September. If you look up Hampton Road Writers Conference, there's loads and loads and loads of speakers. I'm speaking and as a keynote, and I'm also doing 4 workshops for them on various different things. Public speaking for authors being one of them. How to do historical research for historical fiction, because I was given a grant to go out to Antigua and do research for a historical fiction series that I'm writing.
That's incredible.
And I've been given another grant from the Scottish Authors International Travel Fund to go to America on this trip. Because I'm speaking at this conference, which is why I've got to tell you about that particular one, because the Scottish Authors International Travel Fund people want me to. And I'm going to be so I'll be there for 4 days. And there's loads and loads and loads of brilliant speakers, well worth going to if you're anywhere near Virginia, well worth going to. Who can get grants for writing? Author Stephanie DeSantos says I can get grants for writing on vacation. Not unless you're in Scotland, darling, because the ones I applied to, I know she's not. She's in mountain times. So
it just depends on where you are and what's available. That's incredible, Wendy. I'm astonished by your success, and as you say, you are a marketing guru. I mean, are you now at the point in your career where you are getting people calling you for these things rather than hunting them down?
Yes.
That's incredible.
I also have an agent. I know we're at the hour, but if I'm keeping you, say so.
It's fine. No, we're not at all. We're fine.
Right. I will say that I've got an agent, and how that came about. My agent, Amy Collins of Talcott Notch Literary Services in the States. Amy, I've been friends with Amy for a long time. We met at a conference where we were both speaking in Dublin Writers Conference.
Right.
And I was invited to that. And Dublin Writers Conference, she was speaking. She's phenomenal. She's a phenomenal speaker. Phenomenal. I'm not being funny. She's the best speaker I've ever heard. Anyway, we got on well. We've stayed friends. She's spoken at the Scottish Association of Writers Conference. I'm the president. I run that. And she was in Britain doing speaking with the big 5 publishers in London. She came up to Edinburgh to meet with a couple of her clients and said, can I come up to Dundee and see you before I go back? And I said, absolutely. So we had breakfast together.
This was recent. Was this recently?
This was recently. It was 2 weeks
ago.
I
remember you doing a TikTok about this. Yeah.
I actually came in flew in from America the day before. So jet lag didn't even begin to cover it. Not America, Antigua. I was jet lagged to hell. Anyway, she drove up and we met, and she said to me, we'd spoken before. She just kept saying to me, you need to pitch me about your books and things. And I went, aye, all right then. But she said, look, Wendy, what about this? We need to do it. And she wasn't an agent when I first met her, but she is now. She's been an agent for 3 years, very good one. And she said, this is what I can do for you. And I'm like, I felt like saying to her, Amy, you had me at agent. You know what I mean? You don't have to convince me, love. So I signed with her. So she'll be looking for stuff that I can do as well, speak at, and, because agents do those sorts of things.
All of your work or one of your particular age groups?
What she's doing is she's not doing the ones that are published already with publishers. Publishers, I mean, as opposed to me. For my first series, D.I. Shona McKenzie Mysteries, I'm keeping she's not going to represent the paperbacks or the ebooks.
Okay.
Because I need to earn a crust. So
Yeah.
if she suddenly went, right, Wendy, these publishers have you signed a contract, then I have to stop writing those books, and they're all pulled from
Yeah.
circulation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got 7 books in that series.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
So
I can't
yeah.
just stop dead. So I said, she's not doing that. She's not doing the non-fiction for writers.
Yeah.
For D.I. Shona, she's representing film, TV, audio, foreign language rights. For Cass Claymore, the Cozy Mystery series, she's representing everything, including the series to publishers, because there's only one out. I have to give her book 2.
Yeah.
So I've got a deadline to give her book 2.
Yeah.
But the new series, the historical ones, which are at the moment just called Thomas Graham, books 1, 2, whatever, she's representing the entire everything.
That's
Fiction,
fantastic.
non-fiction, everything about that. Two publishers for for me.
And do you know, Wendy, I think, you know, the hybrid author, which is also what I am, because I have self-published works, but I have an agent too. And I think that's now recognized as something that is becoming increasingly popular, increasingly good for both sides. And I think it's incredible that you have found the person that is rooting for you and is going to be able to do all of those things for you, and takes the headache away from you having to do that yourself, you know. So huge congratulations. I think that is incredible, and I know there's going to be bright things in your future.
I hope so.
With her on your side.
Brighter than this tiara.
Absolutely, yeah. Just when in doubt, put on your tiara. And
my tiara is actually digging in because it's far too tight for me. I put it a bit tighter, but it's too tight, so I might have to take it off. Sorry.
I have a few, and I have a lot. I have ones that are a lot more ornate, but this is my favorite, and it's my most comfortable to wear. So I just, I tend to wear this one most.
I can't seem to get it at the right stage of either falling off or being too tight.
Yeah. Well, there are. I mean, I have like proper crown ones that I have to use bobby pins to kind of keep onto my head and stay very still.
So. Marissa, before we go, I want to ask you what you write. I want my listeners to hear about what you write.
Sure. So I write young adult.
Hello, Stephanie. Carry on.
I write young adult, and I write anything within the speculative field. So I write science fiction and fantasy and horror and dark fantasy, and I don't write high fantasy, and I don't write space opera science fiction. It's more like Jurassic Park science fiction. So I have a trilogy about genetics, for instance, where you can take a pill and grow butterfly wings or bird wings or be intelligent or gain super speed or that kind of thing. And then I have a fantasy romance about mermaids and shapeshifters, which is a 5-book series, but 2 is coming out in September. And that is, it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but with mermaids and shark shapeshifters. And it's a big swoony romantic, but lots of adventure and conflict and fun. And then my 2 darker books are The Shadow Keepers, which is about a girl who sees crow-like creatures in mirrors, and she gets committed to a mental health hospital to basically get over it. And what's really interesting about this is actually the mental health hospital that I use used to be a real asylum, and it's around the corner from where I live. And I used to live opposite it for 5 years, and it was converted into these luxury apartments. And when people started moving into these apartments, they started telling these stories about ghostly occurrences and all these strange kind of things happening.
Goodness.
And it's a beautiful building. So I kind of thought this is a great place to set a novel. So I pretended that the asylum still exists and it's a hospital today. So, you know, if you go and read the book, you can then look up the future. You can look up the history and kind of spook yourself out a bit.
What's it called?
The Shadow Keepers. The Shadow Keepers.
The book's called The Shadow Keepers.
The hospital's called Brickwood Hospital. So for a while it was used as a World War II hospital, and then it went back to an asylum again. And then I think it was in the 80s it was shut down, and then it was in the late 90s, early 2000s that it was converted into apartments. So it's fascinating history that goes with it. And when I go out with my books locally, there's always people that say to me, oh, my mother was a nurse at the hospital, or my father, you know, there's always people that have a story about it. So I'm like, oh, yeah.
Is it still luxury flats?
Yeah. It
My
is
goodness,
now.
and are people still seeing apparitions?
I haven't lived near there. I mean, it's 10 minutes away, but I haven't lived right in the neighborhood for a while. So I don't know. I should Google it and see if people are still having experiences. But
Oh my
um,
heavens.
yeah, when I talk to people who know it, there's always a story. There's always a spooky story. So, and I've tried to
Any
use
old
many
building
of those.
does. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I've tried
worked
to
on the
use as many of those
yeah,
stories as I could in the
yeah,
book. So
brilliant.
yeah,
I worked
yeah,
on the children's ward at Royal Naval Hospital Haslar when it was a
right,
hospital, and it had been. I mean, it's 200 years old. You know, it was built for people
yeah,
coming back from the Crimea War and things.
yeah,
But anyway, people that I worked on the children's ward, and when we at night we'd get the nurses from the orthopedic ward saying, "Look, they're saying, can you get that baby to shut up? Because they're keeping all my patients awake." And I'm like,
yeah.
"We don't have any babies. Nobody's crying," and that happens all the time.
Yeah. It's so yeah, and I watch all the movies about that kind of stuff, and I love
Mm,
horror, and I love and but mental health is a big passion of mine. So I try to
mm,
combine that into everything that I write. There's
yeah.
always a mental health aspect.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
and then my most recent book is The Unraveling of Luna Forrester, which is a bit of a Marmite book.
What a
Um,
fabulous name! Was it The Unraveling
The
of Luna
Unraveling of
Forrester?
Luna Forrester. Yeah,
Woo, I love it.
so it's a very loose Red Riding Hood retelling, but creepy. And it's about this group of 17 people who live together in a cabin on the top of a mountain. And they're not all human. There's a telepathic fox, an angel, a beacon of light, a griffin, among other things. And there's a house fire. And all we know is that they cannot be found by the authorities. So they run through the woods to grandmother's house, which is like a week's hike. And one by one, they start getting picked off by supernatural means, and it's up to the reader to figure out what's going on and why that's happening, which is all revealed at the end.
Wow.
It's a really hard book to talk about without spoilers, so that's all I can say. The
Well, hey,
blurb
I'm pretty
writing for that was
impressed.
so hard.
Your
Yeah,
imagination. Listen, I thought I had an imagination, but
yeah.
Marissa, I take my crown off to you. Look,
Oh, bless
wow,
you,
what an
bless you.
imagination! I'm
Well,
impressed.
we all have our strengths and we all work in our areas.
Yeah,
And, I'm like, I feel that way about you writing your crime and your mystery and planting those seeds and those red herrings. And, that's just like, woo to me. So, we all have our areas where we excel. And I'm plotting out so many things as well. I'm about to go on submission with my YA, I would say cli-fi. It's called Plastic, and it's about, I kind of like to think of it as Jaws meets the environment. And it's about this eco activist, Sarah, who's 16 years old, and part of the eastern garbage patch between California and Hawaii breaks off and rocks up on the coast of San Diego. And basically there's an organization that tries to get rid of it, but instead of getting rid of it, it combines with an algae and turns into a monster. So that's about to go on
wow,
submission to
mm,
publishers next month. So keep your fingers crossed
wow.
for me. Yeah,
And your agent's doing that, is she?
yeah, my agent's doing that
And
one. So
who's your agent? Tell us.
my agent is Stacey Condler of the Rights Factory in Canada,
All right, okay.
and she is amazing. I love her. I used to have an agent in the UK, and I decided, because I'm actually American, although I don't sound it, and
No,
most of the books,
you sound like you're from London to me.
well, people think West Country or Irish, but if you get me having a few more drinks, or if I talk to another American, it all comes out. Um, most of my books are set in the US, not all of them. So I felt like I needed an agent based there, because trying to sell a book with an agent in the UK that's based in America is really hard unless you've already sold it in America.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I decided to get an agent that side of things. I've had 3 agents.
Mm.
She's my 3rd agent. So
You've had 3. I'm
yeah,
impressed.
I'm
I've had
special.
1,
Yeah,
and I've only had her for 2 weeks.
yeah.
Either you're getting through agents for some strange reason, or I'm really impressed. I don't know whether to think this is a bit dodgy, what's she doing with them
No,
all, or
it's
I'm
actually
so impressed, I'm in awe.
it's actually very common. And with my first agent, I was so new to writing that and she was not editorial at all. And I needed that at that point. And things went out on submission before they were ready. And I was so new to the world that I didn't know what was wrong. So I was with her for 3 years. And although she is an amazing agent, I needed something else. So we finally parted ways amicably, and that's fine. And then my second agent, who I thought was the right person, I write really quickly. I can write a book in a couple of months, and I had 17 books at that point on my laptop. And she's like, well, I only want to represent, after I'd signed with her and we'd gotten a deal, she said, well, I don't want to represent anything else you've already written. You need to write something new. And I was like, if I'd only had 1 or 2 books on my laptop, I would have been like, okay, I can get on board with that. But I had 17. I thought, I'm not just going to forget 17 books. So she just wasn't right. And that's when I found Stacey, and I love Stacey. She is so supportive, and she's so editorial, which I love, and she really pushes me, which I love. I hate at the same time. So she's definitely the one for me. So
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Good to hear. Listen, I've been doing a series on my podcast about working with agents. I think I should have you on. Would you like to be interviewed for my podcast?
Love to be on.
I'll send you a message, and I'll send you a message via TikTok, but we need to take it to either Facebook Messenger or email, because finding messages on TikTok's hopeless. I'll send you a message on, and we'll probably do it sometime this week. It takes about 40 minutes. Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Listen, they're all saying that they love your books, and they're all talking about. So we've got Carrie Russell saying that's shocking, and Stephanie Dos Santos, who writes the most amazing. Now, Stephanie, I know it's fantasy, but you'll have to. Portal Fantasy. I've remembered for the first time ever, Stephanie. I've remembered about Portal Fantasy. Amazing book. I took it to Antigua with me because it was based on her trip to Antigua to get married. But she's been in Antigua, and it's based on a myth set in Antigua.
I love it.
Portal Fantasy. So if you're looking for people to interview, can I
send me?
So wonderful, Stephanie Dos Santos. Can you connect? Either follow each other.
I'd love to, and I'd love to read that. I'd love to read that as well. And anybody that's watching,
Marissa?
It's Marissa Noel 12, and I have a link in my bio.
Spell that. So it's can you spell it?
Yeah, Marissa Noelle 12. So if you go there, I have a link in my bio to sign up to my chat show, and I'm happy to have anybody. And I love Portal. Do you know, it's funny that you mentioned Portal Fantasy, because this other book that I'm writing, which is like a sci-fi horror, which will be the book to go out after the next one, is about a time leap. It's about 6 teenagers who are on their DV. Do you have DV in Scotland, Wendy? I'm not sure if they do that.
Yeah, we have Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Listen, I'm going to tell you a story about
DV, Edinburgh. Duh.
Listen, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I presented the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Awards at Holyrood Palace. I was invited.
That's incredible.
I got to meet Prince Edward. He came up and shook my hand.
That's
he spoke
incredible.
To me. Yeah. You get a group of about 40 youngsters that you present to, But it was so exciting. I have to say, it was exciting.
Yeah.
I felt important for about 2 minutes.
Oh, it's good.
For one day.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. So
this book, it's about these 6 teens on their gold Duke of Edinburgh expedition, and they get stuck in a time loop with a serial killer. And we've gone back and forth with my agent a couple of times on edits, and having to make some things clear. And then I got to a point where it's like chapter 10 or something, and I went, that doesn't make sense. I need to change that. Got down to chapter 13. Okay, now that doesn't make sense. I need to go back. I spent 3 days editing the same 3 chapters because of the time loop rules. And I'm like, portals, time travel, those kinds of things can get so complicated. And I wish I'd never written about time. I mean, I love this book. This is one of my heart books. But it took me 3 days to I thought I already knew all the rules, but it took me 3 days to realize that I didn't know everything, and I had to figure it out. So because if I'm confused, the reader's going to be confused, so
well, if you like Portal Fantasy, I can absolutely 100%. Author Stephanie Dos Santos says you're brilliant. You need to link up, guys. I think if you
Oh,
click
definitely. Would love to.
Stephanie, I think you can click on her name, Marissa's
Yeah.
name, and follow her.
Yeah,
I
you
think you
might be
can
able
do
to.
that. So
And then I'll
click on
follow
her
you
name and you
back.
can follow her.
Yeah.
If you follow each other, you'll be able to sort it out.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
can Talon in the Tree is Stephanie's book, and it's outstanding. Very
Okay.
good.
I'll look for
Talon
that.
and the Tree. Oh, Stephanie says you're now friends.
Oh, well, I must have already been following her then.
You must have been. She didn't follow you back.
Brilliant.
Just
Brilliant.
Stephanie. She's gone off you.
Yeah.
No. Hey, you've got a new follower. I haven't got any new followers, but you do.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Right.
There we go.
Have you got a mailing list that people can sign up for?
I do. So that is on my website as well, which is also marisanowow.com. It's quite easy, which is also in my bio. So yeah, I don't have many subscribers, but I do send out a monthly newsletter, and I try to make it about what I'm working on, what I'm reading. At the moment, there's a cocktail recipe every month because I've got a new release coming out in September, and it's the second book in my mermaid series, and all they can drink in the ocean is something called coconut magic. So they are all different coconut cocktails.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit like my trip to Antigua. If you saw my TikToks,
yeah.
you'd think I didn't do any research. All I did was drink coconut cocktails for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I did do other things.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, so I do. It's not spammy and it's not long. But also in my newsletter, I give away a free ebook every month.
Right.
So all you have to do is reply to the email and say, I want a free ebook. And I put you into the draw. And then as I've only got 100 subscribers at the moment, you're quite likely to win something if you reply.
Yeah. Sorry, we've got a request here for you. Janky Fluffy, who's a lovely, lovely person, lovely, so supportive, says, can we be friends?
Of course we can be friends.
Click on Marissa's name, Janky Fluffy, and you can... I'm sure at the end of this, she'll rush to TikTok.
When I'm done, I will come back and find you. I will find you.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. When I stop keeping her on here, she'll be like, I'm never interviewing this Wendy again. I'm never doing a live with her ever. You don't get away, ever.
No. Wendy, I would love to have you back, in a few months when we've seen what the agent's done for you, when you've got another book out, and just recap on life and where you're at and the amazing. And actually, let's get you back when you're back from America, and you can tell us all about
October.
Yeah. So let's get you in then, because I think my bookings are up till October sometime. So let's get you in, and then we can hear all about your amazing. I cannot wait to hear about everything you've learned while you're traveling, and all your experiences and your keynotes, and that's going to be fantastic. So that will be a really good session. And I'm sure people will learn a lot.
I get back from America on a Tuesday night.
Okay.
And I will be going up to Wick, which is a lot further north than me.
Okay.
Wick is John O'Groats. The next place up from Wick is John O'Groats, okay? So you couldn't get any further north if you tried. Yeah. I'm going up there to speak at Wick Book Festival on the Thursday.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Good luck. Good luck with the jet lag. Because day 2 is always worse.
I may have to get the train because I'll be lethal driving.
I wouldn't recommend that. No,
not after 2 months in America.
Yeah, yeah, because you'll be so acclimatized that. Where will you be flying out of?
Washington.
Okay, so
it's
at
5
least
hours.
5 hours. Yeah.
But even so, I get in at 9 a.m. My time, but that's like 4 a.m. American time, so that's what my brain will be telling me.
So I always, when I do the night flight, because I never really sleep on a plane, I always come and I go to sleep for 4 or 5 hours, and then I get up and then I go to bed like at 11 o'clock, and then I can start to get on there. But I think coming forward,
to do some washing and stuff, and get ready to go away again.
That's not important. When
you're saying that, I'm coming back in our winter, so it'll be freezing in Scotland. I won't be out wearing anything I've got in my suitcase at all.
Well, if you're in Washington, it will be getting cold in October.
Yeah, I'm not going to be in Washington until the very last 2 days.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm in Washington the very last day.
Okay.
But I'll have winter clothes on anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Right. I'm going to love you and leave you because my children
Yes.
need to be tucked in.
Thank
It has
you
been
for
a
my
pleasure
chat.
talking to you and
And
getting
you.
to know you and learning about your books. It's been a fabulous chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Well,
So
I've enjoyed it as well. And everybody sign up to Marissa's newsletter. And if you want to sign up to mine, it is wendyhjones.com. And you'll get a free ebook. There you
nice.
go.
Oh, you do get, when you sign up to mine, you get the first 3 chapters. I'm not quite as sexy as a whole book,
Well,
but you do
this
have the
is a whole
opportunity
book.
to win books. Yeah.
This
So
whole book you can only get by signing up to my newsletter. It's
nice.
Detective Inspector Shona McKenzie's Guide to Killing Your Boss.
There we go. I
There you
was
are.
going to add some of my book, The Shadow Keepers, this one based in the asylum, some psychiatric evaluation reports and things like that, because you get the first 3 chapters free of The Shadow Keepers as well. So that will be coming at some point. Yeah, but lots of free stuff.
Excellent. Right,
Good.
guys. Oh, somebody's already signed up to yours. Carrie Russell 4 has signed up to yours. You're doing well out of this. Well done, Marissa.
Thank you much.
I'm glad.
Thank you much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you to you, Marissa, for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it.
Anytime, and we'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
And that was Wendy H Jones. Wow, I think that's the longest interview I've had. And wasn't that amazing? We had so much to talk about. And her books sound incredible. And being, you know, a hybrid author, how well her career has gone and all these amazing trips that she's been invited on and gets to speak on. I cannot wait to finish reading her book. And I hope that you check it out as well. And until next time, I'll see you then.